First up, we've got Yolanda Hadid. The mother of supermodels Gigi and Bella Hadid, Yolanda herself was a top-notch model who is now known for being extremely strict on her daughters. She disapproves of them doing sports for fear of them getting too bulky, or eating any processed foods whatsoever. Obviously, as a model, her whole career revolves around how she looks, so it's no surprise that she's gotten some work done to try and fight the effects of gravity and time. Yolanda is 58 and looks like she could be in her 40s thanks to her strict regime of Botox and fillers. She's gotten facelifts and Botox done to her cheeks to try and keep her skin taut. That being said, she's thinking of ceasing all surgeries as she wants to maintain a certain level of bodily health. Quote, living in a body free of breast implants, fillers, Botox, extension, and all the bull I thought I needed in order to keep up with what society conditioned me to believe what a sexy woman should look like until the toxicity of it all almost killed me. Next up is Gwyneth Paltrow, who looks absolutely amazing, especially when you consider that she is 47 years old. While not an old age by any means, if she told me she was in her 30s, I'd have absolutely no trouble believing her. While obviously a lot of this stuff is genetic, there's also some work that Paltrow has admitted to getting done in order to help her defy age. She's spoken at length about her Botox injections and how they've helped her maintain her ageless face. But on top of that, she's also done some extremely strict facials. Paltrow has reportedly willingly let herself get stung by bees in the hopes of attempting to maintain youth. It's a form of acupuncture that basically replaces needles with live bee stings, which is extremely dangerous and life-threatening, by the way. In fact, one woman in Spain sadly passed away after attempting this form of acupuncture because Gwyneth had marketed it as a natural Botox. I think it's the actual Botox interface that's doing the heavy lifting here, not the bee stings. Next on the list is Julie Chen Moonves, the host of Big Brother. The first surgery that Julie Chen got was when she was 25 years old. Although not to defy age, Julie underwent the extremely painful procedure to get rid of her monolid eyes. She did so because of pressure from television networks who thought that her Asian eye shape made her look disinterested, and so sadly she gave into racism and surgically changed her eye shape. While that is a completely different circumstance, she has also, in more recent years, admitted to getting Botox to continue to achieve her high and youthful cheekbones. To retain her age-defying facial features, she's continued to Botox her face occasionally on top of a very strict veggie-based diet. Next up is Amanda Lepore. The celebrity trans beauty queen is almost known more now for her extensive surgeries she's undergone to achieve what she considers to be the perfect look. The nightclub lover has undergone tons of surgeries, including butt injections with silicone, a nose job, a forehead lift, a hairline lowered. She regularly pumps her cheeks with fillers, and she's had her breasts enhanced 3 separate times. To accentuate her hourglass figure, Amanda has even had her bottom ribs broken and pushed in as a way to make her waistline appear smaller and her hips broader. For that procedure, Miss Lepore traveled to Mexico, since few doctors will even perform the operation in the United States. Her latest procedure included a laser treatment designed to make the skin around her jaw tighter. Quote, it's like a facelift, but you don't get cut. People love to hate Amanda, I think because she's everything that represents the rich and famous, but scaled up 10 times bigger and bolder, especially because she's been in the spotlight for so long for reasons untold. Kinda like the Kardashians. Next on the list is the Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose. While he has cemented himself as one of the greats in the musical lexicon, in an attempt to defy aging, his face shape has certainly changed over the years. Particularly, Axl has reportedly gotten cheek implants to avoid gravity alongside a facelift. Especially as Axl gets older, he's starting to shy away from the role as a sex pot in the rock and roll scene, so it's no wonder that he would want to try and retain some of the beauty from his youth. Although I personally think that accepting age is one of the most beautiful things one can do with their body, who am I to argue with one of the greatest musicians of all time? Next up is Paul Stanley. Paul Stanley is looking a little worse for wear lately in a way that has nothing to do with age. Well, I guess it kind of does if you think about how it's basically because of a very obvious facelift. The musician who rose to fame with his art rock band Kiss has also gotten a nose job to give his profile more definition as time starts to sink in. The eyebrows are looking kinda rough, not gonna lie. I liked when they were a bit lower on him, but now with the facelift, it just kinda makes him look a bit more odd than if he were to just leave his face alone. He just turned 70 a few months ago and isn't shy talking about all the surgeries he's had to endure as a result of the roughness of decades on stage. Just recently, he had to get another shoulder surgery due to an injury, on top of the 8 he's already had. Although the that hardly has to do with age, I do feel for the man. Next up is Donatella Versace, the mogul fashion designer who changed the game. While once a naturally stunning woman, her face shape has changed extensively over the years, and as it stands, she's hardly recognizable from her former self. Around the early 2000s, we started to see Donatella go from fresh-faced and vibrant to plasticky, and nowadays she more closely resembles a wax figure than she does a human being. She's undergone multiple facelifts, consistent Botox, lip fillers, and I'm sure tons more in an attempt to escape wrinkles, but also to combat her near constant sunbathing that she refuses to stop despite knowing the effects of the dangers it can do to your skin and to speed up the aging process. Next up is Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers was a hilarious woman who didn't shy away from her bout with cosmetic surgery. Getting an eye lift when she was only 35 years old, she's been trying to escape age before it even really had an effect on her. She also had some facelifts, a very noticeable nose job, and a few eyebrow lifts. In a tribute to the star when she passed, supposed comedian Lena Dunham tweeted out cheekily in a joke that I'm sure Joan would have loved, quote, "Joan is gone, but a piece of her lives on. Her nose, because it's made of polyurethane." Joan once joked, quote, "I've had so much plastic surgery, when I die, they will donate my body to Tupperware." Rivers stated that she wants to look as young as possible into her old age, to the point that her plastic surgeon would send her home sometimes if she showed up too frequently to her Botox sessions. I kind of love her, and even more so for being so open about the surgery she's done to achieve an age-defying look, even in death. The famed prop comedian Carrot Top looks extremely different from his youth in an attempt to banish the wrinkles and signs of aging from his face. He's achieved a surgically enhanced, excessively arched brow and an extremely smooth face. The smooth face likely comes from laser treatments and chemical peels to keep it extremely tight and lacking any of the sagging we all see as time goes on. In reference to these surgeries, one doctor stated, quote, "At least it's appeared he's left his eyelids alone, although maybe they're next." And now last on my list is Jocelyn Wildenstein, who looks so unlike a human these days that she's been dubbed the Catwoman, and not because she looks like Zoe Kravitz. Jocelyn is a New York City socialite who went from natural stunner to, as she aged, a refusal to let time take hold, as she has had countless surgeries that have her appearing almost alien-like. Most notably, she's done her eyes and lips up so extensively, tons of facelifts and Botox. It's hard to see the natural face she once had under there, although I'd probably call this more of a medical obsession than dabbling in youthfulness, as it borderlines addiction levels of surgeries, so be nice in the comments.
So starting off our list today at number 10, we have Kim Kardashian. For years now, it seems like the Kardashian family has denied having any sort of procedures done, which is baffling because just having one look at the family, you can tell that they have definitely had a lot of work done to achieve their looks. While Kim has continued to go on and claim that she hasn't had any butt injections, she has claimed to getting cortisone shots to help her with her psoriasis. In 2022, during her cover interview with Allure, she would explain that she had a little bit of Botox done, and that's exactly what she's done to her face over the years. She then went on to deny any other procedures after she said she chilled on all the Botox lately. She then went on to claim that she's never had eyelash extensions and went on to say, "I've never done anything. I have a drop of mascara on today. I've never filled my cheeks. I've never filled my lips." But do we actually really believe her? Number 9. Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen has been pretty open about her plastic surgery when she first started to admit to her procedures back in 2017 when she told Refinery 29 that she had her armpit sucked out, and when her fat came back she had to pay for liposuction again so she could feel more confident when she wore her dresses. Then in 2019, the star would take to her Instagram to post that she would be removing her chest implants as she wanted to be able to zip into a dress size that was actually her size. And then again in 2021, the star would take to her Instagram again to share that she had the fat removed from her cheeks when she said, "I did that Dr. Diamond buccal fat removal thing here, and since I quit drinking, I'm really seeing the results." Chrissy then went on to point to the area of her cheek where the procedure had been done before adding in her caption that she had no shame in her Dr. Diamond game. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, we have Khloe Khloe Kardashian. I don't think any of us really thought Khloe would admit to some of the procedures she had done on her face, as we thought she was just going to conceal the truth about her work like the rest of the family seems to do. However, during an episode on Keeping Up with the Kardashian series finale reunion, the star would admit to her procedures when she said, "For me, everyone says, oh my gosh, she had her third face transplant. But I've had one nose job and everyone gets so upset like, why don't I talk about it? No one's ever asked me." On her talk show Cocktails with Khloe, the star also admitted to having facial fillers dissolved when she said, "My face was so effed, I had to go and get this whole thing dissolved. It was a bummer and now I'm afraid to do it again. I'm also almost like I swear things are still in my face," which is honestly probably true, as once you alter your face, you can't go back to what you used to look like before. Number 7. Ashley Tisdale. Have you ever noticed that Ashley Tisdale's face altered around the time she was working on the hit show Sweet Life of Zack and Cody? Well, later on in Ashley's career, after the rumors started to circulate around the star altering her nose, she would admit that she did have a nose job done in 2007 to fix a deviated septum. When she told people, "I didn't do this because I believe in plastic surgery, I did this to help my health. I literally almost could not breathe out of my right nostril. I want my fans to know the truth. I'm not someone who is going to act like I have done nothing. I just want to be honest with my fans who are everything to me." And while Ashley did choose to admit that she had surgery done, she's not like most celebrities on this list today because she chose to have the cosmetics procedures done to help her health and not to improve her overall look. Number 6. Bella Hadid. In her 2022 Vogue cover story, Bella Hadid would share that she regretted having her nose altered when she was just 14 years old, when she said, "I wish I would have kept the nose of my ancestors. I think I would have grown into it." She also went on to add that her nose job was the only procedure she has ever gotten done, and she went on to say, "People think I fully effed my face because of one picture of me as a teenager looking puffy. I'm sure you don't look the same now as you did when you're 13, right? I've never used filler. Let's just put an end to that. I have no issue with it, but it's not for me." Instead, she went on to state that her lifted appearance is the result of an illusion when she said, "Whoever thinks I've gotten my eyes lifted or whatever, it's called face tape, the oldest trick in the book." However, while the star has admitted to her nose job, it's only a matter of time before she comes out to reveal that she also had buccal fat removal, as her cheeks are looking hella sculpted lately. Number 5. Joe Jonas. You think being one of the best looking men in Hollywood, Joe Jonas would have never done anything to his face, but then think again, as the star has had help from injectables over the years to help combat signs of getting older. As he once told people, "We're all getting older, and part of it is being comfortable in our own skin." Around this time, Joe was also becoming a brand partner for Exomin, which is an anti-wrinkle injectable that temporarily improves the appearance of frown lines using a double filtered formula. Joe would also go on to admit he not only uses this treatment for his frown lines, but he also uses it to smooth out a scar he has between his eyebrows, before noting that his procedure has never been over the top and that he kept things pretty light so you couldn't really tell that he has had work done. Joe actually only chose to come out about his cosmetic treatments so he can encourage other men to feel comfortable doing the same thing, as he doesn't find it such a big deal, and he would also state that we should all feel confident about how we look. Number 4. Courtney Cox. At one point in time, we all noticed that there was just something different about Courtney Cox, and while a lot of people just couldn't wrap their finger around it and what was different with her, some of the star's fans then started to accuse the star of having work done. While Courtney was silent for years about her cosmetic procedures, in 2017 she would finally admit to having cosmetic surgeries when she said, "I've had all my fillers dissolved. I'm as natural as I can be. I feel better because I look myself. I think that I now look like the person that I was. I hope I do. Things are going to change. Everything's going to drop. I was trying to make it not drop, but that made my face look fake. You need movement in your face, especially if you have thin skin like I do. Those aren't wrinkles, they're smile lines. I've had to learn how to embrace movement and realize that fillers are not my friend." But honestly, fillers seem to be no one's friend, so it's surprising to see so many celebrities entering into the trend to get them. Number 3. Marc Jacobs. Back in 2021, Marc Jacobs would cause quite the public stir on Instagram after he uploaded a selfie selfie of himself post-operation that showcased his head wrapped in bandages. The celebrity would then open up about his $50,000 facelift and his decision to publicly reveal he had gone under surgery while saying there was no shame in being vain. The designer has been sharing candid photos of his post-operative recovery on his personal Instagram account since. The celebrity plastic surgeon Andrew Giacono performed his deep plane facelift on July 20th, 2021. Marc would then open up about his procedure with Vogue when he told the media outlet, "I've got some scars around my ears and my face is swollen. I have a bruised neck. I'm still posting on Instagram. I don't care. I don't even see it as an effort to be transparent. I'm doing what I normally do, which is living my life and sharing it with anybody who is interested." Marc would then point out that he's been pretty honest about his changing appearance for decades, and he'll continue to do so as he gets more procedures done. Number 2. Tori Spelling. Back in 2021, Tori Spelling would address her expired and recalled chest implants when the actress posted a photo of herself at a plastic surgeon's office that year on November 19th. In the caption of the photo, she would say, "After needing to for many years, I'm finally addressing my expired and recalled implants. Thanks for squeezing me in. Dr. Plastic Surgery. Great consult. I adore you already." Beforehand, Tori had already previously shared that her implants had expired during an October episode, Wind Down with Janet Kramer. And when Tori was asked if she wanted to have new implants done, the Beverly Hills 90210 actor would say she did, before noting, "See, no one told me when I got that done. In 10 years, you would have to get them redone." Beforehand, in 2019, Tori did address all the rumors around her changed appearance when she told people, "The one thing that stuck with me forever was the plastic surgery thing. I literally had my nose done and my chest done. That's it. I'm constantly reading that I've done more." While the star has been under speculation for more procedures since she was at the age of 19, it seems like most celebrities can shake the rumors, but Tori's plastic surgery rumors have stuck with her throughout her entire career. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Reed Ewing. Reed Ewing once opened up about how he had a nightmare of a time struggling with body dysmorphia and the resulting horrors he faced when he attempted to use plastic surgery to fix it. When the actor, who is best known for playing Dylan on Modern Family, penned an essay for the Huffington Post, he would give shocking details about how he had a pretty difficult time in his life dealing with body dysmorphic disorder. So if you don't know what body dysmorphic disorder is, it's a mental illness in which a person obsesses over the way he or she looks, thinking about their real or perceived flaws for hours each day. And for Reed, he spent years analyzing every single feature, to the point he had to make his first appointment to meet with a cosmetic surgeon when he was only 19 years old. Though he describes the doctor as being curt and uninterested in his worries, nevertheless, he decided to undergo the surgery to get a large cheek implant. After getting the surgery done, Reed would face more problems, as he had to hide his face from the public to hide his disordered appearance post-surgery. It also didn't help when he woke up from the surgery, all the doctor and his staff could do was laugh at the actor's appearance.
Number 10. Zack Efron in Baywatch. Acknowledging his appearance changed in recent years, Efron explained that his looks changed after he fell over at his home and he broke his jaw in November of 2013, making his face and jaw muscles have to work extra hard. According to Zack, he was seeing a physical therapist to help him recover from this, but he briefly stopped while he was in Australia, where he taped 2 seasons of his Netflix series Down to Earth. It wasn't until 2017's Baywatch that fans really noticed the physical changes that Zack was going through. He was already a very muscular man. He claims to have starved and dehydrated himself for the shoot to appear more toned up. And on top of that, this was around the same time that his jaw started to reset itself, being noticeably stiff throughout the feature. His jaw is now more pronounced and it gives him like a more square but muscular face, almost appearing swollen sometimes. The look was only a third of the reason that fans hated this movie. It was also because of the terrible script and performances from its cast. Seriously, Dwayne Johnson, come on. Number 9. Sylvester Stallone in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now, Sylvester Stallone's face is distracting in general. Ever since Rocky, this dude has looked like he's slowly been melting for 20 years, until suddenly a new face emerged. The fun thing with Sylvester is, depending on what movie you've seen between 2010 and now, depends on what you may have gotten in terms of face altogether. Around the Expendables, fans started to notice some subtle changes in his face. The cheeks were a little bit more prominent, he seemed to have more pronounced jaw, but the closer to the final Rambo movie we got, the more that he began to resemble his Rocky days. But most recently in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, it seems that someone took a drywall scraper and just like slowly flattened his face. His eyebrows also look more pronounced, almost like they're the Nike swoosh. And while the overall film is not a flop, the scenes with Sylvester in them were universally agreed to be unnecessary and distracting to the overall project. Number 8. Mickey Rourke in Wild Orchid. Back in his early days in Hollywood, Rourke was known as one of the prettiest boys in town. He was often compared to the likes of Marlon Brando and James Dean. However, that reputation did not last long. Throughout the 1980s, the diner actor would always talk about his issues with fame and how he hated the industry. So, throughout the early 90s, Mickey slowly started getting into the world of professional boxing as an escape. This was the main cause for so much of his misshapen face. According to Mickey himself, he had slowly been dismantled by the sport, breaking his nose twice, snapping his cheekbone, and damaging his ribs and toes. Needless to say, a professional doctor advised him to hang up the gloves before it did too much damage, but unfortunately that damage was already done. In his 1990 film Wild Orchid, the actor's cheeks were visibly swollen and he just looked so different. Later in 2009, he admitted that these changes were indeed due to botched plastic surgery, as a lot of people speculated. Whether it was the bad acting or the bad surgery, the movie tanked at the box office and it currently sits at a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. Since then, Mickey has gone under again for corrective surgery, but he still looks like a clay model of his former self. Number 7. Nicole Kidman in Bewitched. Nicole has been around for a while in the world of Hollywood, starring in everything from superhero movies like Batman Forever to the film on this list, 2005's Bewitched. The film was based around a TV series of the same name and featured Kidman as the lead and Will Ferrell as her co-star. The film was okay, it's fun for some, but for critics, it was a rough ride. One thing many fans noticed right away was that her cheeks looked suspiciously round. Like throughout the movie, the audience was left wondering what was happening to Nicole's face. Over the years, it has been speculated that she's gotten some kind of work done, but it was never actually confirmed. But just taking one look at a side-by-side proves that something has been done. Her cheeks look fuller, her face seems lifted, and there's a lot going on upstairs. This film was just the first of many to leave fans pondering what Nicole had been doing, and it did not stop there. The closer to 2020 we got, the more she appeared to have done, becoming nearly unrecognizable in her role in Bombshell. Number 6. John Travolta in Wild Hogs. John Travolta is a renowned actor who's been around for decades and's probably starred in at least one of your top 10 movies. However, the iconic Pulp Fiction actor surprised fans with what looks like the aftermath of botchy plastic surgery in 2007's Wild Hogs. Fans were convinced that John had some work done in his face and it had gone horribly wrong. Comparing his face to the Grease Lightning star that we all know and loved, there are just noticeable differences under his eyes and around his jaw. He now had more of a square face with unnaturally straight bone structure that he most certainly did not have when he met Sandy. Of course, getting Botox, fillers, or even plastic surgery as a quick fix to hide the inevitable signs of aging is not that big of a deal in Hollywood, but Mr. Travolta might have just stepped into the wrong surgeon's office, as fans were shocked and critical about his new look. The film overall was just a little bit strange, but it had a nice premise. It featured some pretty stellar comedic actors like Tim Allen and Martin Lawrence and Ray Liotta. They played a wannabe crew of bikers who get more than they bargained for when they run into actual gang members. It sounds fun, but the entire film is derailed by the distracting face of John Travolta. Seriously, this dude went from Grease Lightning to being struck by lightning. Number 5. Helen Hunt in I See You. From Mad About You and What Women Want to Twister, there is no denying that Helen Hunt has been a tour de force on screens big and small for decades. In fact, she got her start as a child actor in the 70s. A lifetime in the spotlight means fans will always be curious about every aspect of your life. Considering the pressure to remain youthful in Hollywood, many fans wondered if Helen Hunt ever decided to get plastic surgery. Well, 2019 was a big year for Helen. She had several movies coming out and had just directed an episode of The Politician. However, the main draw of that year was her role in the horror movie I See You, with many fans claiming that the film was unwatchable simply due to her facelift. It seemed like someone was trying to CGI out all the age on her face, but it ended up looking just strange, weird. The negative online comments caused many fans to skip this one and wait for the home release. Who am I kidding? They torrented it. Number 4. Tara Reid in American Pie Reunion. Tara has starred in several comedy flicks over the years, but they tend to stick to the same category: schlocky and cheap, which are still fun, being a part of movies like Van Wilder, Sharknado, and of course the American Pie series. While she seemed to be on the rise, rumors of a serious attitude on set were slowly bringing her less and less roles, and a wardrobe malfunction at a party for P. Diddy in 2004, in which one part of her chest was visible for all the world to see, well, that didn't help either. She had clearly gotten some work done, which was obvious thanks to a certain body part being in the shape of a square and not a circle like it should be. She had also received many physical alterations to her face and stomach, with the latter being botched so horribly to the point where Tara had a hernia that prevented her from being able to work without a shirt on, which was apparently a big part of her career. When the gang got back together for the reunion, fans were curious to see where the film would take the crew and if it may be the first of many more American Pie movies. Unfortunately, the script combined with the distracting physical changes to one of its main cast members caused fans to peg this flick as a must-forget. Number 3. Jeremy Piven in Smokin' Aces. The Entourage star has not always been some cool guy in a suit. He's been a wide range of characters, from a bald store clerk to a villain in Spy Kids 4. This man is versatile, and so is his hair. In one of Jeremy's first acting gigs in Singles from 1992, he's very obviously missing the top of his head. His hair is slowly thinning, but is very clearly on its way out. Okay, so cut to the first season of Entourage, where his hair suddenly began to grow back. And by the time the 2006 movie Smokin' Aces came along, Jeremy had long hair. He looked like he was in a boy band that partied just a little bit too hard. This was a very distracting moment in the world of Hollywood and is a part of the reason that this movie tanked. It could be that, or it could be the terrible performances given by Piven, especially when you compare it to his co-stars like Ryan Reynolds and Ben Affleck, but who knows. It seems that the closer to 2020 we got, the more hair this dude had. He claims to have received hair transplant surgery, which was difficult to hide as he was bald one day and Elvis Presley the next. Number 2. Portia de Rossi, Arrested Development. While this may not be a film entry, how about the fact that she messed up a whole season of television just with her face? In fact, it had changed so much that her character was slowly written out of the series. The popular series returned after 7 years of rest, releasing an entire season, 15 episodes worth, all at once on Netflix. Now this is how the running joke heavy sitcom was really meant to be watched, all in one sitting over and over again at the viewer's own leisure. But it seemed that all the Twitter sphere could talk about was actress Portia de Rossi's face. De Rossi, who plays the vapid, self-centered, clueless Lindsay Bluth Fuquet in the series, had apparently gotten some work done, as a side-by-side of season 1 to season 4 shows vastly different faces. Several plastic surgeons gave their take on the possible changes and agreed that it was very obvious that she had had some work done. They report that she received a nasal tip reconstruction and Botox injections. Yeah, you don't need to be a plastic surgeon to see that one. Unfortunately for the show, that 4th season was not well received, and one of the many issues that fans seemed to have was the little to no explanation on why Lindsay looked like that. And at number 1, Kim Basinger in The Burning Plain. Kim was a rising star in the 1980s, being featured in rom-coms, action movies, dramatic pieces, each one just a little bit better than it would have been without her. Towards the end of the 1990s, she was still maintaining a steady career, but as we entered the new millennium, many were noticing several changes to her face. By the time The Burning Plain came out, it was obvious what was going on. Her cheeks were noticeably larger, leaving her with deep ridges. Her face was also suspiciously wrinkle-free, which made the changes even more obvious. Between the Botox, the facelift, and who knows what else, her role in the film was bogged down by the unrecognizable face of Miss Kim Basinger. Despite boasting a great cast with Jennifer Lawrence and Charlize Theron, the film tanked, and no one could take it seriously.